Why did you say that wrong? Poop mouth.
Poop coming out of your mouth.
Mouth.
I'm glass episode of emotion.
The bears smell the menstruation.
That's
You know, the audience are going to be confused when 2 episodes release and one of them being 10 seconds because I did just stop. I hit record again.
Let's
Why did you do that?
Let's feed into the bears.
Because we had the episode. We're done. He signed off. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right,
let's go.
All right, for real.
River.
Oh, okay, so that's me. Sorry.
You didn't give her a countdown.
When you hit the button. Yeah, you didn't give me a countdown.
The amount of restraint it takes all of us to shut the fuck up, and you miss the opportunity.
I know. I'm so sorry. I blew the moment. But hello, everybody, and welcome to Y.A.R.P episode 64. We're 5 away from our special episode 69.
Yes.
Nice.
Woo!
Yes.
But today we're talking about the Hateful Eight.
Oh my god. Specifically the extended cut. We have not made that more clear.
Explicitly the extended cut, yes.
I think every time we've mentioned the Hateful Eight, we keep going, yeah, the extended cut. So it's like the 15th time.
Yeah, actually, it's the extended versions.
I mean, there is some value in pointing that out, because I think what we're going to be talking about a little bit more is actually going to be the difference between the two. Because, I mean, I think most of us who have seen it already know that we quite like this movie. Max has seen it quite a few times.
Well, so the nature
of he's the only one who hasn't seen it at all. Is that right?
What? Am I the only one?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
okay.
Like for reference, like because of my job, it's really easy to just like listen to shit, and I kind of took the Hateful Eight as like a podcast movie, just because it's a lot of dialogue and not a whole lot of action going on.
Right.
So
I'm wondering if I would have liked it more if I'd seen the theatrical version first.
You might have, honestly. Like, kind of sucks that that's your first experience with it, but still, how'd you like it?
Well, it's I'm trying to figure out like where I would rank it amongst the other films. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's probably not at the very bottom.
What would you say is worse than it, just as a point of reference?
Oh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet.
Which we haven't. I know we haven't
gotten there yet, but you know, since we're just using it as a point of reference, what is it makes it worse?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes Once Upon a Time in Hollywood worse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this movie, I feel like it really gets down to it about halfway through. Whereas Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's literally like the last 10, 20 minutes of an unnecessarily long movie that has almost no point to it. This at least has a point.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that.
Okay.
But we will get there when we get there, unfortunately.
I mean, we can talk about the points that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood does or does not have when we get to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But for so you things like, at about the halfway point, are you talking about the narrator telling us about the poisoning of the coffee and that introducing like an extra layer of tension that kind of keeps us hooked in, or are you talking about something else?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and then that's when the confrontations start and all that. So I don't know. That's when I started to get more interested. So
okay.
That's actually kind of where I was in the theater when I saw this, because I said it while we were watching it. I was sold on that being an action movie because the trailer is apparently really misleading.
Yeah, we mentioned the trailer, and like, I really wish we could, like, I don't know if it would count if we put trailers in our fucking thing, but like,
no, trailers count because possible copyright music.
Got you. Well, like, if you could put it, if you want to overlay it, like just put it on mute. But like the way the trailer is shot, it makes it seem like this is gonna be like a fucking big, like, epic cowboy thing. In actuality, it's very slow and like methodical, almost like a murder mystery in a way.
Yeah, it's a whodunit halfway through.
Literally, it is a whodunit, and it is like it's a character drama. It's not an action movie at all.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
So the market really did not do it any favors, and that actually happens weirdly often. where a movie will suffer in its reception just because it was advertised wrong, which seems unfair.
Just a little bit, especially in a really good movie. I really appreciate this. But let's get around everybody's thoughts. Ninja, why don't you kick us off? What did you think of the movie?
I really liked it. Not going into too much detail, I think we're all pretty much in agreement that it was better in the theatrical version
Mostly
than it was in the. I mean, there's like maybe one scene I would say that was better with the extended stuff. So I mean, but even though I mean this is one that I did see in the theater, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely the slow burn. I could see the comparisons to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I really still enjoy it for what it is. Like I didn't see a lot of trailers and stuff for it, so I didn't get misled. I guess I kind of knew what I was getting into, and a lot of the westerns, used to have that kind of tempo anyway. So to me, it seemed fitting. It didn't seem like out of place or like they were pulling a fast one or anything.
All right, go ahead and take it, Tom. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think this film is severely underrated, just as a whole, especially when it comes to like his Tarantino's whole filmography, because I think it's easy for it to get lost, like with all the other more famous stuff he's done. Especially considering this came out immediately after Django, like as another Western.
Yeah, like what was it? It was like a fucking year, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, like 3 years.
Oh, 3.
I wonder if that actually had something to do with it as
well. I think it did. I think people are expecting another Django-like thing.
A lot of explosions.
Yeah, it was Tarantino, another Western. Oh yeah, we're gonna get some. Oh, it's gonna be like a fucking ride or like a actiony, intense romp.
It's been so
Django
long
2. This time they're all racist.
It's actually been a while since I had
Django 2. It's Morbin time.
Oh my god! So it's been a while since I've seen this trailer again. Yeah, it even shows the whole Joe Gage holding the revolver under the table. They very much show this as an action movie.
Yeah, but that's like a lot of that is marketing. Like even like Tarantino and stuff doesn't have full control over that to an extent, So it's.
I think it's the distributor that takes care of that.
Yeah.
So in this case, the Weinstein Company.
Weinstein, yeah.
Yep.
They're to blame.
That's fair
for a lot of things.
Yeah, I was just saying they're not exactly not without sin. That's for sure.
Yeah, so you can't really put that on the film. That's just the marketing.
Right. Who's next? I
Go
see
ahead,
just
why don't you take it, Wyatt?
Fair enough. So when I had first seen this in the theaters, I was kind of expecting an action movie, so I very much did. My second viewing was more of an appreciation of like what the film actually is. Like, oh, this is like I liked the dialogue a lot more, and it honestly with the extended, I think I agree with Ninja. There's only one scene I actually enjoyed from it. Everything else felt like a...
Real quick, what is that scene that you're both talking about?
So I don't know for him. For me, it was the scene of Kurt Russell coming in from the gang's perspective. I actually really liked that.
All right, is that what you're saying, Ninja too?
Yeah, the one where it kind of shows not Oswaldo, what was his real name, Pete, and Grouch. Like it shows kind of them making the connection with Daisy much earlier in the film. Basically, the whole thing, kind of from their perspective is pretty cool.
I love how like their actual names make them sound like Sesame Street characters.
I don't know,
you got Pete English, you got the fucking Grouch.
We got Grouch Douglas and English Pete and Marco the Mexican. But compared to Bob, Oswaldo Mowbray, and Joe Gage, like
he's writing his life story. Okay.
You just heard. Okay.
I didn't need.
I like Joe Gage's voice. It's funny to me.
I did not need to see. What was the name of the lady?
Donegre.
Donahue.
I
did not need to see her pee.
Yeah, that was that was a weird one.
Is Quentin switching fetishes all of a sudden?
I mean, I don't know.
I think he just had the camera on them too long, and she actually had to piss.
Well, I think he might be, because I think there was a very symbolic imagery that he's like killing off his old foot fetish by having Marcus shoot Daisy's foot.
Oh no.
Well, no, he wants the actors to inhabit the scene that they're in, to really inhabit that space and move around and mark their territory.
You mean like wearing crutches while you go to the bathroom?
Well, yes. You're all wrong. So what it really was was talking about how vulnerable women are in society and how they're chained down by men.
Obviously.
And so they empower themselves by pissing in buckets.
I actually kind of fucking felt disgusting saying that. Slur, like, yeah, it's just ill. Anyway,
right, so this is like my second time seeing the movie. The first time, I'm actually lucky that I avoided the marketing. I actually didn't even know there was a new Tarantino film out until I was already in the cinema looking for something to watch. So I was like, oh, neat. And I just went in and I saw this, and it's just like a lot of really fucking snappy dialogue with some colorful, interesting characters. Almost none of whom are nice people, except for Minnie and, you know.
Yeah, Minnie and Obi. I ship them.
Yeah.
Sweet Dave was alright.
Sweet Dave was okay. He was a douchebag in chess though. And he was
I mean, the man knew a fat ass when he saw one. Like, that's all we know about him.
Ask me if my fat. Ask me if my ass is fat.
Ask me if my ass is fat. It is.
It is.
Why?
Ask me.
Why? Just say.
Is your ass fat? Oui.
Yeah, look at that. That's big page.
I think that like might actually be a record for making us just fall in love with a character in a Tarantino movie. It's like anyone else, you usually need to see, like, if it happens quick, it's because of like a big significant interaction with like the main plot. But that was just literally just some fucking dialogue back and forth. We're like, oh my god, I want this woman to narrate everything ever.
Well, I was about to say, just imagine it's the Old West. You come across this lady who's just so fucking nice. You're like, all right, that's it. I'm stopping whatever current career I have. I'm going to work at this place now. If it means I'm around that sweet lady more.
I mean, there is one guy who had that exact idea, and it didn't go so great. But yeah, it's like, this is like second time watching, and I actually did forget a lot of like the post-reveal stuff. It's like, I remembered bits. It's like, I knew who I wasn't supposed to be fucking trusting. But a lot of like the details and shit I had like just kind of forgotten over time, and then watching it again is like I'm paying so much attention to where people are and where everybody's weapons are. And yeah, it is, because of that exact thing, definitely a movie that is worth seeing twice.
Yes,
just so you can track that.
And that's what I was saying with River, because this is the first time she's seen it, and like I would strongly recommend going back and watching the original version, the theatrical version, because like there's a lot of really cool things, like when everything that like Warren says, because he's the one who like basically figures out the whole fucking plot. Like there's a moment where he like walks in, he kicks a jelly bean, he like looks up and notices that one of the jars is missing. He's noticing everything about like Marco, and like he's basically like checking him because he already knows that Minnie wouldn't treat a fucking Mexican to her haberdashery. So there's a lot of like little subtle things, like the hat thing.
I was just gonna ask about that actually. So why, if she doesn't tolerate Mexicans, why was she tolerating Bob when he first came in?
I would just, she doesn't actually address Bob at all. You know what I mean? Like she actually stays away from him, and you could just say that's just her being a good host.
Whereas if he tried to talk to her, she probably would have come out with some absolutely heinous racist shit.
Yeah.
Which honestly wouldn't have been out of place in this movie, so I mean, maybe that's in the extended cut.
Yeah, it's released the mini release.
The mini cut.
The mini cut. The mini cut. But yeah, so like I said, he doesn't address her like personally, so that's the thing. But the main thing is she wouldn't trust her most valuable possession to a Mexican.
Right, yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Is like that was like the dead giveaway.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson pretty much hit the nail on the head in the barn.
But Bob was giving him a run for his money.
Yeah.
You know, he was throwing out questions, just, oh, I was like, oh, she's still staying at the smoke with pipe smoke and all that. And like, Bob was on it. Bob was like, he's throwing out that mattress.
Yeah, he stops and like crosses his arms. He's like, she smokes, she rolls her own. But hey, amigo, I think you know this.
So at that point, you can infer that, like, even though Warren is very suspicious, and for some reasons we haven't even gotten introduced to yet, even though he's suspicious, he has to allow for the possibility that maybe he does know her for some reason. Like, he's traveling with a white guy who shoots people. So he knows that there has to be some wiggle room in this weird world.
Well, I mean, he did know John Ruth. Though there is, I guess we can get into that, because there is one problem I do have with the movie. And it really bothers me, especially with the extended cut, because it really shows, like, it feels unnecessarily showing John Ruth to be a massive asshole. But at his core, he's actually kind of a good guy.
I think he's kind of both at the same time.
Yeah, but
where
like,
he's just he has like both knobs turned to 11 at all times.
Yeah, he's not.
So
he's not evil. He's just a very
just
like
an arsehole.
Yeah, he's just a very blunt like dick.
Yeah,
I'll kill you. You got something on your
a
face.
chode, if you will.
Yeah, but very intelligent.
Look, because like there's a point where it's the point where they get the letter out, and he goes, "See, this letter has exactly the purpose of disarming white folks." And he goes, "It got me on that stagecoach, didn't it?" And it's like I always had a problem with that. It's because like no, it's because you were gonna die, and he didn't just want to leave you for fucking dead.
Yeah, the other guy didn't have like a Lincoln letter, and he got in the coach because, you know, as much of an arsehole as he is, and he is an arsehole, he also isn't just gonna let someone freeze to death needlessly. He's just going to make sure they're not getting into his coach with a fucking gun they can shoot him and take 10 grand from him with.
Yeah, specifically the part where he's like, "So I'm supposed to freeze to death because you find something hard to believe?" There's like a really heavy sigh. He goes, "Yeah, that's fucking correct," and he lets him in at that point.
He's like, "Yeah, good point."
I suppose that.
Yeah, he takes reasonable precautions, which is why he's so on edge all the time because of his, you know, his occupation.
Yes.
Which means that this movie does something that a lot of movies kind of don't have the balls to, which is show that Warren, even though he is fully justified in believing everything he does because of the life he's led, he's still wrong about some shit. You know, because that's just how fucking humans work. We can understand how he arrived to be the guy he is, absolutely. Especially with the kind of exposition-heavy conversation in the carriage on the way to the thing, where we needed Warren's entire backstory kind of dropped on us, you know, just to get it in our heads before we arrive. The dialogue there, I think, could have been a bit better, but yeah. The fact is, when we know his backstory, we know who he is and the life he's had, we get it. We see how he acts, we see how he thinks, we see how firmly he believes what his place in the world is, and he's just constantly running up against dickheads who affirm that for him,
basically,
which is very generous of them. And yeah, it just clearly just cements him in his position, and sometimes he's wrong. Sometimes he assumes the worst in people, and people aren't the worst. But did life be like that sometimes?
Yeah, I also really like the character moment with Ruth when they're doing that letter scene, and he's like, "Oh, did I?" Yeah, you did.
You did.
Like, that was just so
like most movies
and honest.
won't do that. You know, they won't actually take that step, and it's like, no, yeah, you pissed me off.
Yeah,
you lied to me. That hurt my feelings.
Yeah, you lied. Yeah, you hurt my feelings. It sucks.
It's like, yeah, I pointed a gun at you in the snow, but we also shared a steak like 8 months ago. Like, that's about as close as most people get to being friends with me, because I'm an arsehole. But, you know, still, dude, what the fuck?
Well, and out of everybody that was in that room, you know, Warren was the one he trusted the most.
No,
yeah.
And to the point where even after...
he kind of sort of trusted him.
Kind of, sort of.
I was going to say, and he even understands, like, when Warren punches the lady out of the carriage, and they both roll over, he's kind of like, if you ruined that letter, I'll just watch him beat the piss out of you.
He's going to stomp you to death.
Yeah,
and
I'll sit on that wagon wheel, and I will watch and laugh.
Horse laugh is what he said.
Yeah, he understood the importance of that.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. He said horse laugh when he was talking about Chris Mannix.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna sit back on that carriage and laugh.
Like, he was a tiny bit miffed that he got knocked out of his own carriage. But
Just
then,
a bit.
Understandable.
He wasn't overly pleased about it.
But
It
then,
was
I
rather
didn't
sudden.
drag this bitch across this mountain just for you to break her neck.
Well, I give the letter to her. I gave it to you. All the dialogue's so good. Like, this movie's fucking fantastic. Like, as like character interaction dialogues wise, it's so fucking like just crisp. It's good.
I mean, there's a
Mhm.
particular thing of taste where you have to. I mean, I think we're pretty much all on the same page where we actually like seeing just really shitty people bounce off of one another. A lot of people don't have a tolerance for that kind of thing.
That's fair.
Like they just find like because the person is just an arsehole that they just don't want to hear them talk. Like a lot of people have that kind of reflex about it.
Yeah,
which,
but there are
is not
degrees though,
unfair,
aren't there?
but still. I mean, yeah. There are people who just cannot watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was about to say
Yeah.
It's Always Funny in Philadelphia, which
there's
is true, but
It's true.
Yeah, because there's a difference between watching like an asshole character like John Ruth and like watching, well, I guess what we perceive to be an asshole character like Carol Danvers or something, Captain Marvel.
well, that's
Yeah.
because
that was
of
a weird.
that's
but you see, the
because of,
music tells you she's a hero. So
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
I was about to bring that up. It's more the fact that with Carol, they're trying to show you. They're like, she's the hero, and we're just watching her actions as she just breaks the Dawn's hand. It's like, oh, no, she's a fucking villain.
Meanwhile,
Oh.
the hero of the two heroes at the end of this movie, one of them is someone who was actually fighting to make slavery a thing for longer. You know, that's
Actually,
unconventional.
Cause,
Just a bit.
Because when ninjas are scared, that's when white folks feel safe.
It's true.
You gonna talk that hateful ninja talk. You gonna ride up
Ninja
top of old
talk.
B.
Actually, I think a
It's
better
like, I'm
example.
just gonna go
Talking
sleep now.
politics.
Oh, that exchange is so fucking good. Because like
It's so good.
he showed his power level just a bit too much, and Samuel Jackson just leads across the fucking carriage into his face with the gun. It's like,
I love the click too. The creak.
Yeah,
Don't talk
Chris Mannix was a character that always really interested me.
He's so fascinating. I love him.
This
Because at the same time, his introduction is like, whoa, this guy's clearly on a spectrum of like hatred towards like black people and like Warren's whole situation and his backstory, and then as like the story unravels, he's kind of this like almost timid at times, like
he got up against the wall fast. He was just like,
yeah,
oh god,
like very like accommodating, timid person. And then when he's in control, like when Warren like gets him to come off the wall, he's like, "Oh, you sons of bitches! I'm gonna kill you." It's like,
damn
yeah,
sure didn't. Damn sure right.
damn sure
I mean,
wasn't.
he comes across as someone who does have a lot of fear for his own life and a lot of self-preservation, but who, when in a position of power, will get a little bit lost in the sauce.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's you, Joe Gage, because you ugly.
My daddy led an army. I don't feel
The
so
birth
good.
of the American justice system.
I was going to say,
that's why Amber Heard got.
But in spite, but in spite of all that, like with his character, like he's still like very perceptive.
Mhm.
Like you said, like with his whole like self-preservation, he still has like he's still very aware of situations and knows how to get out of it and knows if he's in the shit or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting to watch.
I gotta say, this Fat Man and Django, it does make me actually cherish Walter Goggins as an actor. Cause
Don't forget Cecil.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Don't forget Cecil. Everybody forgets about voice actors, but Walter Goggins has both. He's actually a really good actor and a really good voice actor.
That's true. Well, I was bringing this up is because for as long as I could remember, he was always just like he was playing side characters on TV shows my parents would watch, like Justified, The Shield. Like he was always in the background.
Yeah, he had
I never noticed him.
But he has a really good fucking scene in The Shield, you know?
Where he
and surprisingly with fucking Anthony Hopkins. Or not Anthony Hopkins. What the fuck's that guy name?
Dustin
dude,
Hoffman?
Michael Chiklis?
the fucking no, it's the
Buffalo Bill?
black. It's the black fat dude who always plays the like, what's the word? Like stereotypically, like funny man. He was in Transformers.
I'm sorry, the name that came to
Michael
your mind for
Anderson.
this
Michael
description
Anderson,
was
thank you.
Anthony Hopkins,
I fucking because I don't know why.
famed fat black man.
Famed fat black man, knighted for being black by the Black
Sir
Association.
Anthony Hopkins.
Man, Zorro was a different movie.
No, Anthony Anderson. That's
Anthony Anderson,
Yeah.
thank you. That was his name. But yeah, like it has a scene in the not the Wire. Fuck, what was the movie? I don't know. See, I'm like all fucked up. Anyway, Walter Goggins is a fucking great actor. That's fucking the point.
Have any of you seen The Righteous Gemstones?
No, can't say I
No.
have.
Oh, okay. Well, he's in that, and he's pretty good.
Yeah,
We might need to watch the Tomb Raider movie because he's the bad guy in it.
He's also the bad guy in Ant-Man. Okay, that's where he is mentally. Where is he? Literally! Oh, he's at the woods. Oh, man. I love that man. He's such a great actor.
What else did we really like about this movie? Or do we have any actual criticisms of what happens? Or
well, like I said, the stage, the thing with the Lincoln letter always bothered me. But
What about it?
Like I said, well, no, the way he said, like, it's like it got me on that stagecoach, and I hardcore disagree because it's like, no, it's because Bob Ruth was really nice to you.
Okay, so is that him being wrong, or do you perceive that as like a problem in the script?
I just see it as him being wrong, so it's not really a problem with the script. I guess it could be. I don't know.
It's more like his character's perception of what happened.
Yeah,
right?
And I guess it comes down to like, does the movie portray him as being absolutely correct, or does the movie just portray that as what he thinks? To me, that's kind of where the line is, of that being a problem or not.
I don't know. I gotta think about that. But
because I mean, just the way I read that scene was that that's what he thinks, and we have like a lot of justification from earlier as to why that's what he thinks. Yes. And I do think the conversation where Mannix basically teases out all of Warren's exposition, that conversation I thought was probably the worst written part of the movie, but even then it was still a lot of fun to listen to.
What part are you talking about?
Okay, when they're in the carriage, they're about to get to Minnie's.
Yeah.
And they've just picked up Mannix. And Mannix is just kind of talking, and he's talking about Warren and about the shit he's done. And he's kind of filling in Ruth on the shit that he doesn't know. And he's kind of, by way of talking about Warren, he's also kind of revealing a lot about himself and what he thought about the war and what his dad was doing after the war, etc., etc. That conversation had a lot of exposition stuff that felt a little bit clunky, just to kind of keep us on track for giving as much of Warren's backstory as possible. It's the most minor criticism, and honestly, like, to change it, I don't even know how it'd go about it, because it's not even that it's written poorly or it's too chunky. It's just, it feels very video game dialogue-y, and that scene kind of starts that track, and then when we get into the thing and you see, like, we get this very segmented thing where we get, okay, now these two characters are going to have a conversation, and then now these two other characters can have a conversation. It's like, because of that scene in the carriage, it kind of primed me to frame those other conversations as like NPC dialogue a little bit.
I guess, but I don't know.
And like I said, tiny fucking criticism. I wouldn't even dock a point from this movie for this shit.
Fair enough.
But when you ask me, like, what would I criticize about the movie, and I have to go for shit that's like this microscope to the eye kind of shit, the movie's very fucking strong already.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any issues with like the logistics or the overall like plan?
The plan, it is a little odd to me that they didn't kill the old man in the like initial, like, I don't know, ambush moment. Roll for fucking initiative. But I think that's really it. Like the plans seemed very solid. Like, and they took a
Not
lot of
taking
precaution.
him out immediately, I think, was just because he poses zero threat, and also when he was still alive after the first round of everybody dying, I think it was Pete who first says, like, no, hold on. With just us here, it looks a little bit empty, it looks a little suspicious, whereas someone like Sweet and Sweet, massive
Yeah.
quotes, he's a fucking Confederate general, but like, just having an old guy by the fire, because he looks so vulnerable, it makes the rest of it look a little bit less suspicious.
Well, it wasn't
Like,
just I'll say it wasn't just the Confederate general. There is something about that he is particularly a fucking evil bastard.
Well, yeah, also that, but
You didn't even recognize the uniforms
we don't have
of
the
colored soldiers.
We didn't have the time. We didn't have the time or the food or the inclination for horses, let alone those
Northern ninjas.
northern ninjas. So I shot them where they stood.
There's a lot of ninjas running around.
There's a lot of ninjas running around this time fight. It was kind of crazy. Ninja, how do you feel about your representation in this movie?
Yeah, you got a lot here.
It's kind of spooky.
Spooky.
What?
Very suspicious.
There's a suspicious amount of ninjas in this movie.
I like to imagine Ninja pulls off his mask. He's just a skeleton.
Oh my
you
God.
know what's funny?
Oh, like
Django
Scorpion.
is the one where Tarantino got criticized for having the N-word too much in the script.
This one, I feel like this one has it way more, and it's crazy.
I don't know if it has it more, but it
doesn't have it
definitely has it
more.
a lot more in like that very fucking blatantly fucking hateful context.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
because this is
like when he's
post-Civil
talking
War.
about northern horses. Yeah, he is, as you would say, saying it with his chest.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like he broke his vocal fry for all of that.
With a hard R.
Least of all, northern ninjas.
Ninjas.
Oh no.
I had to say it with hard R.
I hail from a colorful people. Okay.
Is that Beantown?
And Ruth actually makes the point at the very beginning of the movie. It's like they don't like being called ninjas anymore. They find it offensive.
Imagine that darkies like become ninjas.
They don't.
I'm having way too much fun with this.
Quick thing about that when Ruth says that, when he like stands up for Warren, like, oh, they don't like to be called that. They find it offensive, and then when when he's suspicious of him and he's on the defensive about not trusting Warren, he like calls him that.
Says it.
He immediately calls him a ninja.
I mean, it's still a part of his vocabulary, but I do think Mannix would still call him an SJW.
When the reveal had happened that the Lincoln letter wasn't real, he immediately is like, "You people can't be trusted.
You ninjas can't be trusted.
Can't trust a word out of your fucking mouth."
That's it. That's the last straw. I'm going to be racist on purpose.
This is it.
I'm about to be racist.
The racist meter is just, the racism meter is just building throughout the movie.
You know the video I'm referencing?
Yes.
It's like Goku going Super Saiyan. I'm about to become racist. It's playing the Super Saiyan theme too.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
about to racism.
Freaking Bob Ultra Instinct with the drip.
Dude, that's my new profile picture. I don't know if you saw it.
Supreme Bob.
I saw it and hold on. We have to show some memes that were made during the watching of this film.
Gucci Supreme Bob met the Mexican.
So basically what had happened was I had just noticed
explain the context.
that when people were coming in and out of the cold and complaining about just how cold it was, I noticed that the carriage driver that brought them there, he was complaining a lot, and he might not have had so much to complain about if he had Bob's extremely luxurious coat.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
The wanky fur coat.
I'll show it on the main screen. You got the Gucci.
Sorry, one of my friends actually just commented on that, but can you prove you're a Saiyan, cabron?
No, I want to point out.
That is actually something Bob would say.
I want to point out the out of context one.
You're gonna go off a far-fetched Saiyan theory like that.
In terms of like images that have been made during like after this has been made, I'm gonna point out the fucking one that's me.
Oh yeah,
I have it on screen.
Yeah, so like we've all fallen for our religionisms. We all believe in Jesus as he morbs for our sins. So,
Naturally.
but when we sandbagged it when Wyatt got here, and he was a little confused. So that's what it initially looked like.
So, and
Just
then it
alone
became this.
Wyatt, the sea of morb.
And then,
So much
and
more.
then this fucking slur made this picture. I
It's
have it
so
on
good.
screen.
It's too powerful. Slur's ability to shitpost on the fly. he actually did activate Ultra Instinct for it.
And then 20 seconds later, 20 seconds later, I see fucking Ninja has posted it on Facebook. And I had no choice but to do the Ralph. I'm in danger.
Oh, you're in danger, but can you prove it? Come on. I don't know why. I just love that. Like all of Bob's delivery is really good.
Yeah.
Can you prove it?
There's no reason for it. Like he's kind of just there for the whole movie, just feeling his vibe.
As he squints for the whole movie.
He stands out in his own way.
Well, who's the asshole who broke the door? Just fucking hold the door.
No, and then as he was up against the wall. As he was up against the wall, we made the joke like
he's a whole vibe. I was just saying he's a whole vibe.
And he has the drip with his big Gucci fur coat.
When he was up against the wall, and we're just like, can that man squint any harder?
The man's eyes are like not open. I swear to God, for half this fucking film, he can't see.
Well, like you said,
he has Brock vision.
It's a real thing. I don't know what it's called, but like a couple of my clients have it. And yes, I'm an asshole, and I've told them to open their fucking eyes.
I mean, you got told to open your eyes, and then you got banned from Facebook.
I mean, true.
You got zucked.
I mean, if you would squint, you could probably see it being racist. Oh, whoops. That's an old reference, and nobody will and nor should get it.
Okay, so differences between the extended and the theatrical version. We
So,
kind of
you made
alluded to this a little bit.
I made it. Yes, because like I said, I've fucking seen this movie like more times than I should like admit. But there were a couple things that I didn't notice, and a lot of it were subtle changes. Just like, you know, a little like it's really like I'd have to really go back and watch like both of them compared, but it did feel like certain sets of dialogue were like kind of given a little bit more spaces, which I guess you could say could feel more natural, but it did feel a little awkward, maybe because I'm just it's coming in from confirmation bias, but still.
I
yeah,
agree.
so John talking about his horse, his lines with Daisy. There's an extended dialogue about Warren's partner that was mentioned that was never talked about in the thing. The talks between Chris Maddox and the general. I think there's like 3 that are added. Like the one at the dinner table in particular, because that was happening, but it was in the background. For some reason, in the extended edition, it was basically given a microphone, which was strange.
The camera hangs on Joe Gage for some reason for a good few seconds.
Just a few seconds. It was awkward, but that's what they wanted to do, I guess. It's his vision. And that's my point, is that it really it felt excessive, where most of the time added things, well, like what we talked about with the added scene of after the setup and when he gets there. I kind of agree with you guys, but with like how it gives a little bit of extra context, but there was just something really nice and snappy about the second he kicks the door in, because if you pay attention, the angle that we see English Pete from is the exact same angle we see it when he first gets there.
Right.
So
yeah, the fact that we've come full circle and we've caught up, and that's it. And we're right back in where we started. It's like, yeah, I get that.
And the transition is lined up perfectly with the kick, and it goes to black screen, and it's back to the current time. So that one, like I said, I can be either way on that one, but there are a few that are just like, okay, that really didn't need to be there.
most of them, I think. And
There
I
i-
kind of said this in one of the intervals, and I guess we can talk about that in a bit. But yeah, you get like a lot more atmospheric kind of shit where we're just lingering in the carriage with them as they're going along. We get to feel the kind of the awkwardness, and then when we cut back into what's happening in the cabin, or sorry, the haberdashery.
We're
I wouldn't want
haberdashers.
to. I don't want to besmirch how much haberdashing Minnie does or does not do, but when we cut back in, we open with a shot of Groucho just taking like a puff of his cigarette, and then we cut back to what we were doing. It's like it's added tiny little shit that doesn't really add anything but pads it out so you get it like into those 4 evenly timed pieces, and that's about it. It feels like padding, except for one. And yeah, you already said why you think it's not necessary, but I do still think it adds a little something extra, just a little bit of extra spice when we get to rewatch like those first few minutes of them being in the cabin from the gang members' perspective. When we get to see where the hidden weapons are, and when we get to see like the little looks they were giving one another, and it's kind of like the
Well, we see
what's
the
the
head.
Hitchcock thing where you see a family in a room and then the room explodes versus you see a family in the room and you also see the bomb that's under the table and then you're watching the time tick down and then the bomb explodes.
Well,
He kind of gets to have both.
well,
doing
we
this.
did. Well, in the original cut, we did see the weapons. Like they were shown in the original cut. That's literally where Quentin Tarantino's narrating and saying, and they hid the bodies and stashed weapons for future things, and cleaned up and stashed weapons. Like that was actually shown where like all the weapons were at that point.
Yeah, but Groucho like actively trying to take a shot much earlier and not being able to, and Johnny English just constantly trying to like freaking navigate that situation.
Shut the fuck up! Oh my god, there's your next edit. Put in Johnny English in like the Hateful Eight trailer, where it has like all of their heads lined up.
God
What the fuck is that guy's name? Rowan Atkins Downs?
Yeah.
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson.
Okay, so
Rowan Atkins Downs. What the
How
fuck?
dare you?
I got him mixed up with
Fucking heathen.
I got him mixed up with Robin Atkins Downs, one of my favorite voice actors. So fuck off.
All right.
Travis touchdown.
We see the ninja on the pile of corpses.
Mailer's maxi buns. All right. Anyway, so yeah. Other than that, like I would say this is probably one of the better movies. Like I would definitely put this on. I feel like it's fair to put like pretty much all of the Tarantino movies on the short list, but this is definitely one that like if you had me to pick one Tarantino movie to put on short list, it would be Hateful Eight. I put that over Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Bastards.
Ooh.
Wow.
I think I would put it over Pulp Fiction. I don't necessarily know I'd put it over Inglourious Bastards because Inglourious Bastards is really fucking good.
That's 100% fair, but
So-
like,
So I have an interesting question.
go ahead.
We brought up a little bit about how the Lincoln letter was a fake, and how that kind of brings one of our up to this point protagonists, Warren, into question a little bit. The story that he told to the general, was that real or not real?
I thought
I like that we can't actually tell. Because I don't think so. I think he was deliberately trying to antagonize him because of their history on the battlefield, and he knew that would do it. I don't think that thing is.
But I feel like that would have been a stronger thing if we had sort of had a scene, or because was he eavesdropping when they were talking about why the general was there?
Well, I kind of said this thing with the NPC dialogue thing is that when you have one conversation happening, pretty much nobody else is talking. So I do believe that they can hear each other. And any information that's shared between two people is usually going to be heard by everybody else.
Well, I don't think
he was in the room when that was being discussed, though. Well, remember, he was still out with Bob when Chris Mannix notices who it was. And him and Chris Mannix have a conversation, and then him and Bob come bursting in the place of haberdashers.
Although
he doesn't need to be there when he recognizes who he is. He only needs to be there to hear the details about the son, because he already knows who he is.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that I'm pretty sure he was like, I'm here for, like, he tells Chris Mannix about, he bought a symbolic plot for his son. I'm pretty sure I might be wrong, but I'd put money on it that Warren was not in the haberdashery at that point.
Well, I feel like I'm losing my mind because I could have sworn in the theatrical cut they asked him if that was true, and Warren just goes, "No, I just shot him."
No, it wasn't. That's not in the
Or no,
movie.
they never
wasn't.
confirm it. As
They
far as I
never
remember.
confirm it.
I agree that he was intentionally antagonizing him,
Yes.
to try and get him to pick up the pistol. But I wonder, it's like, because the whole Lincoln letter being a fake thing, like that's the most sort of prestigious, one of the biggest things we know about his character. And so for that to be called into question,
Yes.
it really makes you wonder, like, well, was all the rest of that bullshit too?
It does establish that he is someone who's willing to lie his way through the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it would be a nice sort of payoff for that, I guess. So yeah, I can believe both, but I would err on the side of it being fake.
Yes. I think it might have been real because, like I said, I don't think Warren heard him saying that he was here for his son. But I feel like I feel like it's intentionally left up for like that ambiguity. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I can't talk. We know this. Yeah, no, that's a fun question. I do like it's the thing is like you're starting to see pictures now though, because like regardless if it's real or not, the general is feeling it. So to speak.
Yeah, because he
he
describes
was
it
starting
in
to see
very.
pictures.
He was
Pictures
describing
now.
it in very like vicious detail.
That's your boy speaking. Yeah. You can't blame your boy. Because no man had been that cold.
Subjectively, I feel like I'd put this up there with Django, but that's because, like I said last week, I'm a sucker for westerns.
That's fair. And yeah, when it gets western, it does get fucking really western.
I mean, this whole movie is western as absolute fuck.
Yeah, but like I'm specifically talking about like with the gut shootouts and all that shit. It goes hard in the paint once it starts going hard.
Oh yeah, it's like just there aren't actually that many gunshots in this movie, but when someone in this movie gets shot, like goddamn.
Well, that's what I brought up, like when we were watching it, like when shit goes off because of the slow burn and how it's more character focused. Like when shit hits the fan, it's like, oh shit.
Yes,
it's like, oh my god, someone got shot.
Yeah, it's like somebody in front of you getting shot in the head is like, that's not a neat thing. You're sitting there covered in blood, skull fragments, and brain matter. It's gruesome. And every kill in this movie, even though there's not that many, each and every one of them is bloody as fuck. It's a mess.
Yeah, and I think that's like a perfect execution of the tone that Tarantino set.
Yeah.
Because like when you're watching Glorious Bastards or Django, and you see one of the characters like get shot, it's like, yeah, that was gruesome, that was bloody, but because it's like so often.
You may even be having a laugh, like with the oh my god.
Django, yeah.
What was his name, Jesse or something? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jesse.
Yeah. You shot me, you son of a bitch.
You stupid bitch.
It definitely falls into a more sort of comedic tone, whereas this is played straight.
Mm-hmm.
It's played awful, and it kind of helps keep the tension a lot higher.
Yes.
Yeah, and it makes the deaths a lot more gruesome. Like you mentioned,
a lot more impactful.
The blood and skull fragments. Watching Channing Tatum get shot in the back of the fucking head.
Watching sweetheart Channing Tatum just get the back of his head exploded off. It's like, oh shit!
And just all of it landing onto
on his sister.
Yeah, and just,
but to be fair, he is a fucking basement bushwhacker.
But bushwhacker castrator.
Who shot Warren in the fucking balls.
So
goddamn sack shooter.
Why was it necessary for him to be in the basement?
I never understood. Maybe he'd be instantly
because he
recognized.
was going to be the one to get the drop on Ruth.
I'd actually say no. I think it's because he was the most prolific person.
Yeah, I just said that.
If John Ruth saw her brother, he'd be like, oh shit.
He'd immediately know this was a trap.
Mm-hmm.
And Warren potentially.
Yes.
because he's like $50,000 bounty.
That's a fucking lot.
That's
Like, fuck.
10,000 is a quarter
Well,
mil.
but
Like
he still seemed to have trouble recognizing the others, and they were all part of the same gang.
Yeah, but if you had like the most prolific leader of the gang, I feel like that's a lot more recognizable than somebody
I
who's kind of.
agree, but it's like you would think, especially since he's specifically targeting Daisy, that he would be on Ruth specifically would be on the lookout for the others of her gang.
I'm just assuming because I'm not an expert on like how bounties worked back in the day, but were they always given like faces, or sometimes were they just given names?
No, the poster with the
it
face,
depends.
that
A
was
lot of the time you'd be given a face, but it would be like a sketch. So a
Yeah.
lot of the
It
time
would also
wasn't very
depend
good.
on the value of the bounty. Like typically the ones that are higher would have the face as well because they wanted to increase the odds of them being located.
Yeah.
I thought the wanted posters, I thought that was more of a Hollywood thing, with the picture and the
that's
dead and
absolutely
alive.
real.
No, they would actually put out posters so that the public would know what these people looked like.
Be on the lookout for this motherfucker.
Yeah, and a lot of times they would just have them with a fucking face mask on because that's how the bandits worked, but it was literally anything they could have. Like it's the thing of like give as much information as possible.
Right, fair enough. I was just curious.
Well,
like,
and you
what
also
was
have to remember that back then a lot of people didn't know how to read.
That's it.
Right.
You show a big number and fucking a face, and people are like, oh, I know that guy.
Yep.
That's cricket right there. Sorry.
Why did they? So why would they have to chuck the bodies that were on the top of the wagon into the snow when they'd be equally as cold?
That was strange because that was an added scene. So in the original cut, Warren goes OB, and like it then cuts like he goes, "Do you know who that ninja is?" He's like, "I don't know who that ninja is. I just know that he's a ninja." But it's the so after that where they're like, okay, we're gonna divide Minnie's haberdashery. So in the extended cut, we see OB and Warren leave, but in the theatrical cut, we always see them put their hats on and then they walk over, and then that's when they have the discussion of one of these guys is lying. Like we don't actually see them leave. So I would say that's a weirdly consistent addition, but it did feel a little like who gives a shit. But yeah, that like them moving the bodies was an added thing.
Okay, because I was thinking like they're already freezing. They're
Don't worry about it.
what, you put them in?
Well, I mean, you still
Additional
want to
cold.
minimize their exposure in general. You know, by basically putting them in the snow, you are essentially sticking them in a freezer. You're preserving the bodies. Because even though he's bringing them in dead, they need to be recognizable. If you leave them out where they can potentially start to melt and, let's be gross about it, decay, then that's money that you're not going to, do you want to take that risk?
Warren even brings that up, actually. He says that Bob can't have his bounty collected because he blew his fucking face off. He won't be able to be identified.
Marco ain't worth the peso.
Yep.
You're gonna talk yourself to death, Pete. Oh yeah, so what were the two English accents, Tom, that was used by
Well, it was
Pete
first the Oswaldo Mowbray, as very posh British
posh.
man, very standard British man.
Was that a little comedically over the top though?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Okay. Absolutely. Of course.
Both of them were, to be honest, but the
bit.
second was a little bit more natural.
Yeah, that was a bit more,
Like when he
Tim
calls
Roth.
your man a fucking cunt, like I've met guys who actually sound like that.
Yeah, that was more his real accent was more natural Tim Roth, like, yeah, I suppose, yeah, you kill that ninja, you take my body.
It ain't on you, it's on that
Yeah.
ninja.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah,
I love
no worries,
the
mate.
idea of the movie we're talking about.
Well, that's why
It's just a bunch of like fucking Samuel Jackson is just like ninja'd up.
That's why I fucking messaged Slur and he got so confused. I wanted him to Photoshop.
You just
the
asked me to
Naruto
put a
head.
headband on Warren. I'm like,
I wanted
headband?
to. Well, it's because I don't, since I don't watch Naruto.
Oh, you're thinking of Naruto fucking headbands. I'm talking about like him actually like dressed up like in the robes of a ninja.
Oh no, I'm putting a Naruto headband on.
Yeah, and I was like, that's the well, ninja's
He's
gonna
from the
fucking.
motherfucker. He's from the
I'm gonna
MF village.
I'm gonna suddenly feel like a kunai on the back of my head. It's like, that's the Leaf Village. That's what the headband means, right? That's what.
What?
I'm one of the cool kids,
What the fuck
right?
are you talking about,
Please,
Jesse?
please shut the fuck up.
I was asking you, and you did yet to answer me.
No, that is not how you ask a fucking question.
Yeah, what did you even ask, dog?
Is that what the
Reform your
headband
question.
means?
No, it just means where they're from.
That's what I. Okay. And then from the Leaf Village,
you went
right?
on some crazy.
You are assuming that there is one headband in that show. There is not.
Mhm.
Every village has a different one.
All right.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. Even I knew that.
It is literally to signify where the fuck you are from.
Which is strange for ninjas, but I mean, he's wearing an orange jumpsuit, so.
Also, yes. Weirdly enough, ninjas in Naruto not all that concerned about stealth.
I was actually about to ask if they even try to sneak around like actual ninjas.
Jiraiya does.
Yes, absolutely they do.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty much the only one, actually. Now I think of it.
Well, yeah, he came up with
The only one.
Well, he came. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ninja. He's the one who developed invisibility as a jutsu, but he only did it so he could fucking spot on chicks.
But no,
Are
in
you
his
fucking
defense, he
kidding
did
me?
actually develop a lot of other jutsus as well.
Well, but
wasn't
like we're
just
talking about stealth, and the ultimate thing of stealth is literally
Yeah.
turning invisible.
No, he didn't invent invisibility.
Oh, he didn't. Okay.
No, he uses his techniques for pervy reasons.
Of course.
Of course he fucking does.
Well, I mean, he's an art. He's a fucking writer, so. leave him
Yeah,
alone.
he's a writer. He's doing research. Shut up.
Okay. All right. Let's stop.
I'm.
Because Jiraiya's a weird one, but I love him.
Alright, get your fucking headband on Samuel L. Jackson, you fucking weeb.
Play the Naruto music.
Look at that ninja over there, and it's.
Oh God, I need to see it, don't I?
You kind of do.
So up for Bob English.
Hold on. Let me show the audience.
Please do so. Oh God, here we go. That's so fucking stupid.
He uses bang bang jutsu.
Jutsu.
Fucking gun, no jutsu.
You've never heard of the Rasen gun?
Yeah, that's what he defeats Sasuke with. No, not the bio. I just saw the fucking Johnny English.
Believe it, motherfucker.
Oh God, dude.
Stay strapped or get clapped.
Sun Tzu said that. And I'd say he knows a little bit more about being a weeb than you do, pal. Because he invented
it.
And then he perfected it, so no man could match him in the ring of cons.
Then he used his weeb buddy to get two of every waifu.
Two of every manga. And then he herded them all into a boat, and then he read the crap out of every single one of them. All right, this is fucking weird. All right, final. I guess anything else you can think of, Ninja?
No, I think we've kind of touched on the important things.
Yeah. So where would you? Okay, so yeah, where would you rate this so far with the other movies?
It's better than Django. Fuck.
Tom, what would you rate it over the other movies so far?
It's tricky. It always gets tricky.
Of course.
Yeah. It's actually comparable to a lot of other ones, because I also made a lot of comparisons between this and Reservoir Dogs as well. You know, bunch of criminal motherfuckers holed up in a location just trying to talk shit out.
Very
And,
simple story
being
setup.
too
Yeah.
unstable to do so.
Well,
And yeah. And I do think this is a lot more polished than Reservoir Dogs.
well, of course.
Like, if you take, like, Reservoir Dogs is where he started and this being where he ends up, like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
It just tracks.
This is Tarantino at the top of his game. This was his this was his 8th film. Like, they advertised the shit out of that. It's like his 8th film, the Hateful Eight.
I honestly don't know how I missed it being advertised.
Because his whole thing
it's
original
crazy, dude.
wasn't his whole thing originally was that he would make like 9 or 10 films and then he'd be
He
done.
said he would make 10 and then he'd be like done, but I don't believe him and I don't want to believe it.
Because
he's gonna be one of those. He's gonna be like Hayao Miyazaki, where like every few years he comes quote unquote back out of retirement.
Yeah, because wasn't
Yeah.
like Hero Jet Li's final movie or some shit like that? Not Hero.
Probably. I don't fucking know.
Fearless was his final movie.
And then he's in Mulan.
That was literally fucking and well, he was in another movie. He was in The Mummy before that as well.
There's a few movies, yeah.
Yeah, but he was in a few movies after he said that like the Fearless movie was going to be his final movie, and that's literally as it was advertised as Jet Li's final film. Great film, but yeah, it was a fucking lie. It's true what they say about those ninjas.
Even if it's gonna be Tizumi, I really want to see Tarantino's Star Trek. I know that's like
I heard he's supposed to do that as well.
Is that still happening? I heard that wasn't happening.
I heard
about
yes
that
and
5
no.
years ago, so it's like, all right.
I've heard it's still happening. I've also heard that it's been canned. No one will confirm nor deny it. It's like how Rian Johnson's trilogy is still somehow in the air.
Jesus
well,
Christ.
You know what has been confirmed on the Star Trek side?
Uh-oh.
Fucking Star Trek 4 with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto cast.
Is there up to 4 of those fucking things?
Yeah, beyond
Yes.
3.
There's 3, and
Jesus
apparently they've Paramount have like greenlit a 4th.
Oh,
Why?
was the third one with that fucking Beastie Boys fucking
Yes.
trailer song?
Yes,
Jesus Christ.
Yes, it was.
I
Who
never
are they
saw that
making
movie.
those for? Like,
I
who's
don't know.
really into the Chris Pine Star Trek?
J.J. Abrams.
What's really weird, actually, is Beyond is the closest they've actually done to actually solving the problem via Star Trek methods. Because they're like, oh, if we get the harmonic frequency of the ships, we'll be able to destabilize their hive network. And it's like, oh, you just tried to do a Star Trek there.
Yeah, that
But then-
almost sounded like a Star Trek.
And then
But then he had a punch.
I was gonna say, and then the logical Spock said, "Get back here, motherfucker! I'm gonna beat you to death."
No, then he
Oh.
has a punch out with Idris Elba.
Of course he fucking does.
Because they can't just solve with science. There does have to be a punch up, and it's like, oh, fuck off! You don't know Star Trek.
I just love that was Red Letter Media's coverage of it. It's like, oh, that was a Star Trek movie until Spock, the cold, logical guy, said, "Get back here, motherfucker! I'm gonna murder you with my bare hands."
As you do.
But yeah, I feel like
comparing this to like the other Tarantino movies, it's up there. I said like earlier, I don't necessarily think I would put it over Inglourious Bastards, but like if I'm picking like a short list of Tarantino movies, this is on that short list. Absolutely.
I feel like next week we're gonna have to cap this off by like building that tier list so we can finally rank.
I mean, we can do that as a sort of a wrap up at the end of the arc and just like
Right.
definitively put them like in sequence with one another. And if 2 things end up being on the same tier, that's also fine.
There's no problem with multiple like S tier movies.
Except for this time, we got like as much as fun as I had with it. We cannot use the fucking meme things. If we're gonna meme, we should at least fucking do something referencing to the thing.
Oh yeah, because the problem with the our
like,
Love
we
Death
could-
and
we
Robots
could-
one.
It was a
we
lot
could
of
not-
fun, but it was quite unhelpful.
Yeah,
I've looked back on that multiple
what we
times.
could do, like what we could do for like that one is like put the Bob Ultra Instinct fucking thing. You know what I mean? Because at least that's Bob, the character from the movie, as opposed to just gorillas or a picture of snow.
I'm sorry, you cannot convince me with most of the Goku thing covering the picture of Bob that we would actually understand what's going on.
Are you kidding me? I would, because that's my new
No,
profile.
okay, what if we just use Bob English instead?
Bob English? No, Bob. No, I feel like it's English Warren. English Warren is like the best one because that fucking face with the 2 guns is too fucking strong.
Yeah, we'll figure it out when we get there. Don't
Of
worry
course.
about it.
We've got a
River,
whole
you
week
still
to
here?
figure this out.
I'm here.
Okay, what did you think over compared to the other movies?
Oh, I think I kind of said it at the beginning, but
Yeah.
I would only put this one above Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's I think I like most of the other movies better than this one.
That's fair. But you still admit that it's a well put together movie, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to take that away from it.
Okay, that's fair. See, guys, we can have our own opinions, just as long as we're objective about it.
Yeah, for now.
For now. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Hold on, I didn't give mine.
Oh yeah, fuck, my bad.
Hi, I'm also here on this podcast.
Shut the fuck up. I'll bust you in the mouth in front of these fucking Discorders. I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
I'll morb you right in the mouth. I don't give a fuck.
Damn it. So for me, this is fuck. I don't know where I would put this, to be perfectly honest. Because it's a tie between Inglourious Basterds, Django, and this.
All right, that's fair.
I think this might have to be better than Django. As much as I really love the shit out of Django, this one actually has a lot more. This has a lot more character. I feel like that's safe to say.
Yep.
Sure.
And
it doesn't have any weird like character assassination type moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think it was when we were just playing Titanfall 2, we were talking about because since you had brought it up, it's like, yeah, it is really weird that Schultz just shoots Leo and then says an action movie one-liner and then dies. It's like, that is not your character.
And his beloved.
That motherfucker on the harp accidentally played the Doom soundtrack.
You're saying it's Samuel Kim. He plays the fucking Doom soundtrack 2 Steps from Hell. What the fuck even is that? What does 2 Steps from Hell mean? Like, I don't get that fucking. Is anybody...
You see, there's this thing called hell, right?
Well, no, but like, there's like
2 steps away.
You're 2 steps away from it.
You fucking
beat you to it, motherfucker.
You fucking cheeky blighters. I'm talking about like how, like, because there's a lot of like versions. Like, there's a version of like the Dueling Fates, but it's 2 Steps from Hell version or something like that.
Oh, it's like not a new music genre, but it's like an interpretation of like how to, like, there's Duel of Fates. Yeah, I've heard Crazy Train in 2 Steps from Hell version.
Samuel Kim did a really good one of the Mortal Kombat theme, but 2 Steps from Hell. But like I said, I just don't know what that means.
Is it better than the new movie tried to do the theme?
Yeah, the new movie sucks.
Yeah, I've seen like fucking YouTube videos with like 20 views of just some kid in his room with a fucking bass hammering out the Mortal Kombat theme, and that is better than what they did in the new movie.
Well, it's because they do the theme and then they just do this weird techno dubstep song more than halfway through.
Well, as I say, don't forget the fucking song was techno. It was fucking done by Bucket.
Yeah, it was always techno, but it was all like
they kind of lost the plot and started just doing their own song.
They overcomplicate it, and it takes away all the punch of that theme. It's like the theme has the punch it does, and it's as catchy as it is because it's so fucking simple.
Yeah,
my favorite character was Yol Kung. He's so good.
Well, I was about to say,
wait, that's like, his name?
No, it's Cole Young.
Cole Young, but no,
the man with literal plot armor.
And it's like really embarrassing because like the trailer song for Mortal Kombat 11 or 12. Fuck, I'm off the thing.
11.
It was 11.
It was the
yeah, but the trailer song for 11 was a super simplified version of it, where it was just like heavy, like percussion.
Yeah,
which is probably the way to go. That's like yes. That's how I would, hypothetical situation where I'm like the art director for the next Mortal Kombat games. Like I'm telling the music guys, like, don't overcomplicate it. Don't have too much going on. At least for like the first couple measures of that melody, you want to really fucking hammer it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like for a split second that new movie was Mortal Kombat, and it was when Scorpion and Sub-Zero like face each other, and they did do the what did I say? Sub-Zero.
The move where he froze the blood and used it to stab, like that's a pretty nifty Mortal Kombat.
I was actually
move.
I was actually about
and
to.
And everything Kano said for the entire movie. Like imagine being in a Mortal Kombat movie and not being Kano. Like fucking.
Kano was the best character in there.
I was doing.
Why is the best character? It sucks.
And he got killed off so lame.
So to finish my point for like a split second, it was when they're facing each other's down, and we just hear that really bass dun 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 dun, and it's like, oh yeah, for a split second you became Mortal Kombat again.
Well, yeah, and Scorpion spoke English for some reason.
And then I think we legit heard it.
I that movie.
It was really shit.
It's real bad.
I like how we finally get that fight, and then they cut immediately back to Cole trying to save.
Back to your favorite self-insert, Yol Kung.
I think I legit snapped. Like I think I watched it with. I watched it with you, Ninja, and I watched it with you, Slur. Well, like the second it cut back to Cole, I think I legit just snapped. It's like, why are you still in this movie?
Because he's the savior, not Liu Kang, the savior that's been in all fucking 12 games.
They managed
Liu
to make
Kang
Liu
was
Kang
such
no
a-
longer the hero. It was
He
so
was also
weird.
he was also a fucking twink. Anyway, sorry. This was a movie about fucking Hateful Eight, not that fucking dog shit.
Right as
Mortal
you
Kombat.
said that, right as you said that, my like a Windows notification popped up as if it heard you say twink. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. So I fucking hate that.
Twink, not frowned.
I think every one of my friends knows I fucking despise that fucking movie with a passion because fuck them. But I like Hateful Eight, and that's what we're gonna end
And
with.
Kano. Kano's the
Kano.
only saving grace.
Well,
that fucking
actually,
thing.
I surveyed somebody whose name was Sonia, and I had to stop myself from going, I studied all your moves, Sonia.
No, you fucked up. You're supposed to do that.
But yeah, that's the thing about like when you make a joke about somebody's name, they've definitely never heard it before.
Never. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm fresh.
As my last name could be used as a racial slur.
Well, he's talking about.
With that.
Your,
Oh,
your
fuck.
surname is Ninja?
Alright, we love you guys. That's it. Y'all have a blessed day. I'll see y'all next week, okay? We fucking
Thank you,
finally
bye.
wrap this bitch up.
Jog
Bye,
on.
bye, 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 bye,
Arigato
bye, 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 bye,
gozaimasu.
Just say bye, 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 bye.
Bye, 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 bye.